Listen to this. Listen to this. These are the Polk R200s that I bought for $7.99, and I am having a hard time figuring out if I'm going to keep these or not because they sound absolutely incredible. And if you've been a fan of the Kpaceguy channel, you guys know that I've had the Polk Audio LSIM series. That was the flagship about 10 years ago, and they just recently replaced that flagship series with the L series now, the Legend speakers. But the reserves are kind of the lower brother, the underdog in the lineup, right? But these sound so good. They carry over a lot of the new design from the big brother down in the R series, like the turbine cone and the tweeter and the extension of the frequencies. It sounds so good. I've always been a fan of Polk, and not a lot of people are for some reason. I feel like there's a lot of Klipsch versus Polk war going on. These are totally different. They are, in my opinion, on two different ends of the spectrum. These speakers here, let me say this. The previous generation LSIM series speakers were incredible. Gobs of bass. They were really big. Polk didn't care about its presence. They made huge speakers and they sounded huge, but the only thing about them is they were incredibly warm because their upper register was limited by the tweeter and the crossover. They completely hijacked that and made a whole new crossover and made a whole new tweeter, a whole new mid-range, and it sounds so much cleaner, so much nicer, even near field. Welcome to the desk, by the way. If this is your first time watching, we do bookshelf speaker reviews on this series here. And like I said, we had the R200s up on the desk. I listen to all my speakers normally, right, in my home theater. I put them in the front stage and listen to them in my room. And then I listen to them also here on the desk as near field. So I get both interpretations. So I have far listening and near field listening to give you guys an overall idea. And these sound really good for near field because they are very warm sounding still. Not as warm as a lot of the other Polk audio speakers in the past, but they still have a very warm presence. A lot of it is because of how much bass comes out of this speaker. If you saw my unboxing, I told you guys that these were very warm, or excuse me, they were very heavy and they were very deep for a bookshelf speaker. And I knew that meant that these things were going to dig deep in the bass region, and they do. I have the bass turned down to -5 out of -6. -6 is as low as it goes. I never turn it down under 0 for all the speakers that I've reviewed so far. These have so much bass that I had to knock it down a little bit because it's not overwhelming, but you want a nice tonal balance. You're going to want to back it off a little bit. And yeah, these things have a lot of bass. They dig really deep. Unfortunately, I don't have my camera. If you guys know, my camera decided to break on me, so I'm not using my camera. I'm using my phone, unfortunately. But usually I use my phone to play music, but I'm using my laptop instead. So we're going to play just some different songs and take a listen to how some of these things sound. I want to hear this one. This song's a very light song. It's just a piano, a couple different notes in the melody, nothing too serious, but it still keeps this airy, lifted feeling when listening to it. It sounds, I won't say exactly like sitting next to the guy playing the piano, but you definitely get that sense of space and airiness and freedom with the sound. I really like the tweeter design. Not necessarily, it may or may not be an improvement on the last generation, but just the extra frequency extension alone makes these better than any of the previous Polk speakers Polk has ever built. Hands down. If you have an older Polk speaker, these are better than it. I don't care which ones that you have, these are better than it. Even than the previous LSIM speakers. These are better than them. I like these so much more. I'm going to continue to just kind of click on random things to listen to. Let's just click this one. So Polk Audio speakers have never been efficient speakers, meaning their sensitivity rating has always been in the mid 80s. I think these are rated at 86 dB sensitivity, meaning they don't do well with converting power into sound. It turns into maybe a little bit of heat. I wouldn't say distortion because they handle a lot of power. These handle a lot of power too. And the more power you give them, the better they'll perform. Now, I say that because I'm powering these with 50 watts. 50 watts times 2 RMS at, I think 8 ohms, right? And these speakers can dip kind of in the 6s, maybe in the 4s sometimes. But I'm powering these with 50 watts. And I think nominal 30 watts up to maybe 200 or so. So they like a lot of power, and I'm not giving them any power at all, really. And they are able to play loud and give me some really nice, smooth sounding transient bass. They're not going to smack you in the chest. I don't think there's a bookshelf speaker out there that's going to deliver enough bass to really hit you in the chest. But these speakers have a clean amount of bass to where I'm not scrambling for a subwoofer to pair with them. I love the way these sound by themselves. Let's click on something else random. Every song is so forward. Every song. That's one of the things that I can't say about any of the previous Polk Audio speakers that I've heard. Nothing sounded as forward as these do. When I mean forward, I mean when a singer sings a song, sometimes a vocal coach or somebody will say, well, it sounds like you're singing in the back of your throat, meaning it sounds muffled, it sounds stuck, right? That's what we mean when we say that your sound's not forward. It sounds like it's in the back of your throat. You need to bring the sound forward, maybe more nasally. When you sing like this, you sound more forward and nasally. You want to have that same sensation when you're singing to keep the sound moving forward because your audience is in front of you. You want it forward. These speakers do an incredible job at making everything forward and balanced. Obviously, what we want to hear is the man's voice. We want to hear him sing. There's a lot of instruments in the background. There's some Congo drums. There's some synthesized beats going on. And there's some kind of background piano playing. But he is the focus. And everything sounds forward, but he's still the focal point, if that makes sense. So a really good speaker will bring the voices forward and it won't get jumbled and mixed up with all the other accompaniment. You want your voice to be forward. And I'll play that same song again. Listen to him. He's really easy to hear regardless of a lot of things happening in the background. Take a listen. So you guys can't tell from a YouTube video, especially not my phone, but the beginning of the song, it's panning back and forth between left and right. That whom, whom, whum, whum, it's going from left speaker, right speaker, left speaker, right speaker. So for me, I can hear it passing side by side. Now, here's my first complaint about these speakers. I'm 5'8", so my wingspan's not far, but it's as far as my wingspan is. And it's not a very wide sound. A lot of other speakers that I've had on the desk, I've had them, of course, this same width, and they've managed to give me a bigger sound wall, meaning they play wider than they are placed. Not the case with the Polk Audios, actually. I can hear, obviously, a difference between stereo left and right, but it's not any bigger than where they're actually placed, meaning my sound stage is not all that big. It's very tall, very lifted, but it's not a very wide stereo dispersion. So what you're gonna have to do if you own these speakers and you wanna use them for 2-channel or even home theater, you're gonna wanna place these pretty wide to help them give you a bigger sound stage, because it does sound narrow. It sounds very lifted, it's very tall, it has a lot of presence, it plays loud, but it's not a very wide speaker. You're gonna have to really place these correctly to get the best sound. I'm gonna continue to play that same intro. Nonetheless, even though there's not a huge sound stage with these, it still sounds incredibly good. Like, the overall quality of audio is actually very good.
I really wanted to get it right, trying to find some balance in my...
Female voices is the best way to kind of configure your treble, your higher range. It's also a good way to see how good a speaker is. Most female singers typically sing on the higher side. And so you're gonna really want a good tweeter, meaning you're gonna want a tweeter that can extend to 40 kilohertz. You're gonna want a tweeter that doesn't fatigue you, nothing too bright, because when you listen to a female voice, it can sound piercing. Not at all. In the first 5 seconds of listening to that song, I already know that I could finish the song and not feel fatigued after listening to it. Very well blended with the rest of the speaker. I'll continue to play that for you.
I never really put up a fight, and now I'm losing sleep. What if I lost touch? What if I'll never get it right? I try to follow my heart, but I lost it somehow. Wish that someone could say, yeah.
Now, this isn't the best audio quality music that I'm using, especially when I'm going through Bluetooth. So I'll be careful when I say this, but there is a sense of hollowness in the sound, like we're missing something. I wish there was a little more body with at least this particular song. I'm getting plenty of high-end notes. Her voice is very present. It's very obvious that it's there. It's very lifted, of course. And then the lower range, I'm getting my bass. I'm getting that lower drone kind of sound that the musician put in here. But there's something in the middle that I'm missing. I wish that I could up the mid-range. I can only control treble and bass on my Rythmik A50. I can't control like the mid-range. I really want to bump that mid-range up a little bit, maybe 400, 500, 600 hertz, just a little bit, because it seems like it's a little bit empty in there. I'm going to continue to play the song and see if that changes or if it remains the same.
I'll be okay, just listen to me as I say, listen to me as I slow it down, pretend yours if you want, enjoy the night, 'cause those songs and those dances, what makes it worth it. Slow it down, pretend yours.
I still feel the same way, but I ignored it because the bass is so good. The bass is so good. It's so good. It's incredible. Polk Audio has always been good with bass, in my personal opinion, especially with their port technology they use on the back. I think it's great. No port chuffing or anything like that. The bass is so smooth. It is wild. You almost do it a disservice pairing it with a subwoofer if you're not going to pair it with a really good one. I'm talking like a rail subwoofer, a speed woofer, something like that. And a sealed sub or a really, really good ported one. If you're pairing with a sub, you got to be careful because you may take away from the quality bass that you're getting from one of these. I don't know how well it's coming through my phone, but the bass on this is a lot of the reason why I like these speakers. I really like them for 2-channel music, near field and far away. I'm gonna do just one more random song here. I don't know what these songs are. I'm just gonna click one and hope that it's good. Oh, I know this one. This is one of my favorite ones to do. You guys, if you've seen the channel, you've heard this many times.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, really.
On the last episode of The Desk, I reviewed the Yamo 60 somethings, whatever I can't remember the model name, but the lowest tier Yamo bookshelf speaker that they sell right now. I think the S60, I can't remember, 606 or something. Whatever the small bookshelf, I'll put a picture of it here in the model number. I reviewed those last, and those speakers were a little over $100 for the pair. Not much at all. And I played this song, and they blew my mind with how forward and open and expressive that they were. And I kid you not, the sound quality of these are better, obviously. They're 7 times the price. But the Yamos actually had a way more wider soundstage that sounded more impressive to me. Like, I lost my mind with how good the Yamo sounded in that video. I'm not losing my mind with how these sound with the same song. I like, overall, the Yamo's ability to give me a huge soundstage, at least with this song, compared to these. It sounds so narrow to me. I don't know why. Maybe they're truly not meant to be near field, like in comparison to the Yamos, because the Yamos are a lot smaller. But for this song in particular, I like the Yamo's overall sound. Don't get me wrong, the sound quality of these is 400 times better. But the sound stage and how big it was, I favor it with the Yamo, not by much, but I do.
I wanna know if I never figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs.
The sound is so clean, though, so clean.
You can say I lost my mind. I'll keep
Never mind.
my head high.
Bluetooth.
Jumping from cliffs so high.
I'm going to rate these out of 1 through 10. I'm going to rate these a solid 8.5. They are incredibly impressive speakers, and I'm buying these over a lot of other name brands. I'm not going to name any of them. Maybe. I may tell you what they are in the comment section. But I'm picking these over a lot of other Polk Audio rivals. I'll say that. Things that are in this class, I'm picking these over the majority of them. First off, they look beautiful in this white finish with the grill on them. They look even better. Polk Audio's quality, like build quality, has always been very good. I'm gonna give these 8.5 stars out of 10. The only thing that's keeping me from giving them a higher rating is, one, there's no perfect speaker, so I don't think any speaker is a 10 out of 10. But besides that, there is moments where I wish that it had a wider soundstage. The sound quality is excellent. The sound quality is 9 out of 10. The overall stage presence is what gets it that 8.5. I just wish that they performed bigger than they are. They do. I wish they were a little bit wider than they are. I wish that they filled my wall up with sound the way that some of the lesser priced speakers that I've had up here was able to do, some in similar size. But these are some of my favorite speakers that I have had on the desk. We've had some Kefs, had some triangle speakers, we've had some Yamaha speakers, we had some clip speakers, we had some Bowers & Wilkins speakers, some Fluon speakers. These are one of my favorite speakers that I've had on the desk, and I think that you should go get them. If you have previous Polk Audio speakers in your home that are not the reserves or the legend speakers, sell them to your friend and go out and get some reserves or some legend speakers. I love these things. Polk Audio is a force to be reckoned with, and if you're not reckoning with them, You need to reckon with them. They are, they are so good. I'm going to end it there. There's a playlist down below with all my other desk review videos. So if you want to see other speakers we had on the desk, go down to the description box. There should be a link for you. Hit that like button and subscribe if you are not already. We'll see you guys in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.
Say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.